Coming up on Backyard Science, a whole new way of attacking the lolly jar.
A surefire way to hang on to your money.
And new meaning to the name Big Ears. What on earth is happening to those plants?
Find out what makes a perfect face.
And a backyard boat that goes off with a bang.
But first, there's nothing more annoying than getting caught in a rainstorm.
Unless, of course, you're a thirsty plant.
But even then, there's a refreshing rain. And, well, another sort.
I mightn't be the world's greatest gardener, but how hard can it be to grow a pot plant? Mine gets stacks of water and I feed it up on fertilizer, but it looks pretty sick. In fact, I think it's just about dead. There's lots of muck in the air around here. I've heard that can sometimes cause rain to get acid in it. I'll collect a sample, and while that's filling up, I need to prepare a little test for the rainwater. Boil up some red cabbage in purified water. When it cools down, put it into jars. First up, I'll test some lemon juice. The cabbage water turns red. It's telling me the lemon juice is acidic. Here's some baking soda. Now the water's gone blue. It's alkali. That's the opposite of acid. Now for some vinegar. Well, that isn't acid, so no surprises there. It's acidic. What about washing powder? The solution's turned green. This means the washing powder is really alkaline. Now I can find out if the rainwater really is making my plants sick.
I'm gonna make a jet boat, and it's gonna be balloon powered. And I'll need a straw. She'll never notice it's gone. Here goes. A foil container. Punch a hole in one end. The straight end of a bendy straw into the neck of a balloon. Fix it on with a rubber band. Push the straw through and stick it in place with plasticine. A bit more down the back to weigh it down. See you later. Now, away she goes! Oh, a jet boat! Look at the air rushing out of the balloon! Gotta give it another go! Oh! And now for a balloon-powered salvage boat.
Boats that use jets out the back to push them along can reach pretty high speeds. These jet foil boats have two big engines, making water jets that propel the boats at more than 80 kilometres an hour. Now that's a jet boat.
Wow, that looks like fun. I'd love to take a ride in one of those.
Yeah, it looks brilliant. And Richard has a brilliant idea to find out how tall you are, without even standing up.
I bet I can tell how long your thumbs are without looking at them. Right. If you just keep your head still, I said still, your thumbs are that long, the same length as your nose. Want to see another trick? I'll just measure your forearm, the distance between your wrist and your elbow. And now your foot. Same again. Stretch your arms out. The length of your arm span, from fingertip to fingertip, tells me your height. See, they're the same. When it comes to bodies, it's all relative.
The sun's a fantastic source of energy. It heats up the world's oceans. So Liam and I are going to find the best way to heat up water in our homemade hot water system. We're gonna need 3 baking trays, some water, of course, a pad and pen, some thermometers, scissors and sticky tape, cling wrap, and black plastic bin liner. We're going to put the black plastic bag in one tray. That's because black absorbs heat more than any other colour. In goes the water, then cling wrap goes on top, to see if it keeps heat in. Now for the second tray. No black plastic on this one, just cling wrap. The third one, just water. In go the thermometers so we can keep an eye on the temperature. Now leave them in the sun and see how they sizzle. Now, let's check the temperatures. Black plastic and cling wrap, 15 degrees. Cling wrap only, 12 degrees. The last one, still only 9 degrees. Let's leave them in the sun for a bit longer. Black with cling wrap, 32 degrees. Cling wrap only, 25 degrees. The other one, still only 15 degrees. Our solar panel has worked.
The tray without cling wrap stays cooler because the heat can escape quite easily. The one with cling wrap on top absorbs the heat and traps it inside so the water gets hotter. The tray with both cling wrap and black plastic is a clear winner because the black absorbs more of the sun's rays, making it hotter, and the cling wrap keeps it in. For a moment, I thought those two were going to be in hot water.
Very funny. Have more sympathy for Daniella's plants. They might be in acid water.
Okay, that should do me. Now I'm ready to find out if my rainwater is acid. Here goes. The indicator has turned slightly red. The rain is acidic.
Acid rain is caused by pollution. Exhaust fumes from cars and factories rise up and react with water molecules in the atmosphere. The water droplets become acidic. So when they fall back to Earth, they become harmful acid rain, which is absorbed through the plant's roots.
That's why I can't leave my plant out in the rain. It's already sick enough. I'm putting it on a recovery diet of pure bottled water only. I wonder what would have happened if I'd left it out in that rain forever. I reckon these 4 plants will help me find out. Over the next 2 weeks, I'll give 1 bottled water, this rainwater, this a mild vinegar water mix, and the last a strong vinegar water mix. Sorry, little plantlings, it's all in the name of science.
I'm gonna get a quick shot of Genevieve. She's got no idea what we're gonna do with it. Give us a smile. Why don't you get a snap of Sophie too?
Losers.
Got him! Let's go see what we can do with the photos. There we are. Now for some fun. Quite pretty, really. Hey, what about Sophie? Not too bad either. There's a way of changing all that. I'll just grab a mirror. See how different she looks? Most people's faces aren't the same both sides. If you look closely, a mirror image of just one side is different from the real face. If you don't believe me, I'll show you in another way.
Look! I can easily reverse these faces on the screen. See? That's the original, that's reversed.
I'll print them out. Draw a line exactly down the center of the original and the reversed image. And cut down the line. See what happens when you join the different sides up?
Oh, fantastic! She looks really strange.
The real Jen is in the middle. On the left, we've made a wider Jen. And on the right, she's skinny. See? She's different.
Oh, I've created a monster! And Sophie wouldn't be happy with her weird-looking half-sisters either. I much prefer the real Sophie.
mushrooms seem to grow everywhere. Here's a cool way to see how they do it. They don't have seeds. They spread spores, which hang out in the wrinkly bit underneath the cap. They're too small to seed just one, but there's a way of getting out thousands of them. Cut off the stalk near the cap and put it on a piece of paper. The spores are so tiny they'll blow away, even inside. So cover it with a glass bowl and leave a crack under one side so a little air can get in. It'll take about a day. Now, to check out the results, carefully lift off the bowl and the mushroom top. There it is. Oh, look at all the patterns of those spores. The spores are so small they look like powder. No wonder mushrooms grow everywhere. There are thousands of spores on my finger. Now to help that mushroom make more mushrooms.
The bit of the mushroom you can see is just the very top of a fungus that lives mostly underground. There are 1.5 million different kinds of mushrooms. One type produces 30 billion spores in one day. How's that for being busy?
Soon there'll be a backyard full of mushrooms. Just add water.
Funny you say that. I think that's exactly what Danielle's been doing to her plants.
I've been watering these plants for 2 weeks now. Wow, look what's happened. First, the good news. The lucky plant getting bottled water is doing fine. The plant getting rainwater looks a bit sad. I guess that's because the rain around here is acid rain. Gosh, the mild vinegar solution has really hammered this little thing. Yow! The plant water with the strong acidic vinegar solution has kicked the bucket, just like mine would have if I hadn't rescued it. But do you know the best news? My precious plant is green and healthy. The bottled water has done the trick. You're positively blooming.
The brave adventurer has entered the Cave of Doom. What do you think of my haunted cave?
Not bad at all. There's the spooky plants, the bats hanging from the roof, the brave adventurer. Yep, I can only see one thing missing. Where are the stalactites and stalagmites?
I'll see what I can come up with. I wonder if plasticine will do the trick.
Not bad. Not great though. Don't worry, I think I've got the solution.
Looks like things have gone a bit quiet. Nobody looks very inspired. I've got a cool idea. Angelique's jelly beans. A pile for me, a pile for you. Here's the target. Whoever gets the most in, wins. Let's see what you can do. Doll, try again. Oh, close. That's all yours gone. I'll let you in on a secret that's guaranteed to improve your aim no end. All you need is this.
Oh, I'm cold. It's been too cold lately to take Jody for a walk. That's why she's getting so fat. On the other hand, maybe you need some of that fat to keep you warm, old girl. Actually, I'm gonna find out. Shortening, cups. Shortening is made of animal fat. So if this stuff is what keeps my dog warm, I'll know pretty soon. In goes the thermometer, room temperature. Good. And I'll put a thermometer in one of these empty cups as well. And I'll pop you outside with no fat alongside the cup with fat in it. Yep, that should do it. They should be pretty cold by now. Oh, the temperature of the thermometer surrounded by the fat has only dropped a couple of degrees. But the cup with no fat in it has dropped to freezing. You're fat for a good reason, aren't you, girl?
Imagine living with all that freezing snow and those dripping icicles.
Dripping icicles. Hey, that reminds me. I wonder how Margot and Liam are going with their plans to make stalactites and stalagmites for their haunted cave.
I'll show you a way to grow real stalactites and stalagmites and make this the best haunted cave ever. Okay, here we go. First we need 3/4 of a cup of Epsom salts. Fill up the cup with warm tap water and start stirring. You're going to need 2 cups full of this stuff. We need to keep stirring until no more Epsom salts will dissolve. That's the second cup done. Now take some cotton, about a foot long, tie a weight to one end and lower this into the bottom of the cup. Do the same to the other end of the string and put it in the second cup. Both cups are now chock full of completely dissolved Epsom salts. After you've cut a hole in the roof, lower the string in, placing the cups either side of the hole. Our stalagmites and stalactites will form beneath the lowest point in the string, so position it where you want them to grow.
Daniela didn't have much luck getting those lollies into the jar, but I've got just the thing. Get a clothes peg and stretch a rubber band around it. Push the jelly bean against the elastic and into the jaws of the clothes peg. Aim carefully. Fire! How's that? See how it works? The power of elastic shoots the jelly beans off at high speed, and the peg lets me aim with pinpoint accuracy. See? I can't miss. Your go. Oh, bad luck. Your pile's gone. Oh.
Here's a neat way to show how important your ears are. They not only allow us to hear things, but they tell us where those things are. Totally dark, Blake? Good. Now all you have to do is use your ears to find out where Sharmini is. Blake! Blake! Where is she, Blake? Na 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 na. Yep, you're headed in the right direction.
Because we have 2 ears, the sound arrives at each at slightly different times. Our brain is so amazing it picks the difference and tells us where the sound comes from.
Blake! Blake! But now watch this. I've rigged up a nifty gadget. Blake won't know whether he's coming or going.
Oh, I hope Richard's not going to be mean to poor Blake.
Ha! If you want to see mean, just wait till you see what Ben's about to do.
Angelique always wants to borrow money. Maybe there's a way of discouraging her. I've got an idea. This might do the trick. Absorbent paper, saucer, some vinegar, put some paper towel into a saucer, give it a good slurp of vinegar. Watch closely. In go some coins. This only works with copper ones. Yes, the acid in the vinegar has reacted with the copper. The coins have got a very unattractive shade of green. Sensational. And the longer I leave the coins, the greener they're going to get.
It's just like the Statue of Liberty in New York. At first, the famous statue was bright and shiny, but today it's gone all green. That's partly because of salt and partly because the copper in the statue has reacted with acid in the rain. It's a similar chemical reaction to the one that's made Ben's coins go all green.
Now all I have to do is keep a few of these with me at all times. Okay, here we go. Yep, I can spare a few coins.
This is going to save me a fortune.
Sit up, all you golfing enthusiasts, and watch this. I'm going to line up 3 balls and send the end one flying without touching it. Earth, loosen up. Watch this. Yes, I did it! Energy from this ball gets transferred from each ball and ends up in this one. Very interesting. I'm going to try something else. I wonder if energy can travel through water. Better use a lighter ball. Sponge to soften the impact. Okay, go. Yes! What if it wasn't the water that made it bounce? What if it was just the jar that made the ball bounce? I'll do it without the water this time. Not going anywhere. Water must have had something to do with it. One more time for luck. Go! That proves it.
When Sonam bangs the jar down, the water moves upwards. The upward moving energy is transferred to the ping pong ball and it too goes flying.
Now I've got no energy left for golf. So, we've seen how Blake can tell where Sharmini is without seeing her. Blake! Blake! His ears let him know. But this should fool him. I've taped 2 funnels to tubes about 1 metre or so long. My device basically means these funnels have become his new ears. They're big enough, but will that help him? Okay, loud and clear. Let's plug him in.
The sound coming in the funnel on Blake's right travels along the tube and into his right ear. Sound going into the left funnel ends up in his left ear, so Blake hears normally.
Blake, tell me where she is. Blake! Blake! Yep, you know she's there. Good. But what about if we sneakily switch these funnels around?
Now when Sharmini calls out, sound going into the funnel on the right ends up in Blake's left ear. Sound going into the left funnel goes into his right ear. Blake now hears back to front.
Blake! 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 That's totally confused Blake's ears. Blake! Blake! Oh, well, poor Blake. You certainly helped prove a point. Your brain relies on your ears for directions. Some things, though, are just better not heard.
I can't believe my ears!
You're not going to believe how those stalagmites and stalactites are looking either.
Now that is a haunted cave. Hey, look at it! It worked! A stalactite! And underneath, a stalagmite.
The water was crammed full of dissolved salt. The cotton acted like a wick sucking up the water. The salt soaked down to the lowest point on the string, and when the water began to evaporate, crystals were left behind. Some dripped off and made the stalagmites coming up.
The brave adventurer has returned to the Cave of Doom, searching for the fabled treasure. It's a bit spooky in here now. These stalactites are really beautiful, though. They must have formed over thousands and thousands of years. A cave monster! I'm getting out of here!
Cave monster? Well, I'm out of here as well.
Me too, but that's only because we've reached the end of Backyard Science. See you next time.
coming up on Backyard Science, giving your kite the ultimate lift.
How to pick the biggest apple.
And a sneaky way to trap all sorts of creatures. A disaster at sea. Can we raise the wreck?
A nice glass of milk with a nasty surprise.
And attack of the zapping finger. Someone's in for a shock. Run away! Run away!
No running here. This is Backyard Science. We get to the bottom of mysteries no matter how scary they look.
Right now there's a scary situation brewing at sea.
It's a dark and stormy night, and the good ship Backyard Science is fighting heavy seas. The waves are crashing all around. Oh man.
Too much wave action, I think.
Looks like a drop for the Super Scooper. It keeps sliding. I can't get it.
We need something to dive down and grab the ship and come back up. Something like a submarine. And I think I might just have enough junk to make one.
The zapper has the victim in his sights. She doesn't even know he's coming. Closer, closer. Just one more step. Strike.
You're gonna pay for that.
By rubbing your feet along the carpet, you pick up lots of negatively charged electrons. If you bring that charge close to another person, it jumps across, giving them a zap.
It's called static electricity.
But there's more than one way to use static electricity. If I rub my comb with a woolen cloth, I can charge it up too. If I bring it in close to the water, it's bending. My charged up comb is attracting the water. What about bits of paper? I can even make a ping pong ball move without touching it. Static electricity is powerful stuff. There's no way I can breathe underwater. At least, not without a little help from my snorkel. But fish do it with no problem at all. So there must be oxygen in there. I think the plants put it in. I've got an idea how to find out for sure. Just need a pond plant or two. Mum won't miss this little bit. Now, while my fish are off at the movies, I'll borrow their tanks. Put the plants in and cover them up with a big glass bowl. I just have to sit back and watch. There, tiny bubbles.
Unlike people, plants don't breathe in oxygen. They breathe it out. That's what those little bubbles are. They dissolve in the water and give the fish something to breathe.
Good trick, that. Can you imagine a fish in a snorkel?
All those tiny bubbles. And funnily enough, bubbles might come in handy for our underwater salvage team.
I know how to make a tiny diver. Maybe that'll help rescue our ship. You just take an ordinary pen cap and put some modelling clay on the end. You drop it in a bottle of water, catching a bubble of air in the top of the cap. I can make the diver do anything I want. I can make it dive, I can make it surface. When I squeeze the bottle, I'm forcing water into the cap, squashing the bubble, and the diver sinks. When I let go, the bubble gets bigger again and the diver rises.
We're going to need something a lot bigger to rescue our boat.
I'm working on that, and I think I might just have an idea.
Phew. Hot day. Time for a nice cold drink.
This is going to be so good. Shame you didn't get one.
Hey,
Yum.
can I have a bite? Science to the rescue. I bet you your ice cream that I can move water from this glass into that one without touching either.
I don't think so.
Put your popsicle where your mouth is then.
I'd like to see you fail first. The bet's on.
Right then. I'll just twist this piece of absorbent paper. This will do the job for me. Watch and weep, my friend.
There are thousands of tiny spaces in the fibre of the paper, and the water moves into them and advances along the twisted material.
Trees do the same thing. That's how water gets to the treetops. This movement is known as capillary action.
That's how trees move water from their roots up through tree trunks and into the leaves.
And look, what have we here? Water has moved from one glass to the other. Orange. My favorite.
I'm gonna cause an eruption right here. It won't exactly move mountains, but it'll be quite a blast. Start with an old bottle. Coat the bottom in a layer of baking soda. And a touch of glitter for fun. Get a quarter of a cup of vinegar. Mix in some dishwashing soap for bubbles and some red food colouring for effect. Now carefully pour it in the bottle. Stand back, she's gonna blow. And that's my volcano.
One of the most famous volcanoes is Mount St. Helens in Washington State, USA. In May 1980, a huge eruption blasted 23 square miles of rock off the mountain. It felled trees as far as 17 miles away. Scientists say it will happen again, but they don't know when. Time to take cover.
What better place than underwater? And I think the salvage team is getting to the bottom of how to get down there.
This bottle ought to do the trick. First, I'll cut in some holes. They should let water in to make it heavy and sink. We'll need a hook to grab onto the sunken wreck. If I attach this balloon to the end of a long tube, put it inside the submarine. Now just stick it in place with some modelling clay. That's it, she's finished. Now the clever bit. The balloon should act like the bubble in the diver. Blow air in, the balloon gets bigger and it should rise to the surface. Let air out, the balloon gets smaller and it should sink. I think we are in the salvage business.
Real submarines actually have two hulls, an outside shell and an inside shell. When they want to dive, they pump water into huge ballast tanks between the two hulls. That makes the sub heavier and so it sinks. When they want to surface, they blow the water out with compressed air.
Uh-oh, that's a bad idea.
She's forgotten the milk and cookies. A few hours in the hot sun, and interesting things start to happen to milk. You shouldn't really be doing this. Somebody really should tell her. She's not gonna like this. Don't do it.
Oh, yuck, it curdled.
Milk curdles in warm air. That's because the sugar in the milk changes into an acid and forms white lumps. The lumpy stuff is called curds, and the thin watery liquid is called whey.
There's another way of doing the same gross thing. Just pour in some vinegar. It takes a few minutes. The acid in the vinegar made the milk curdle. In fact, the hardest part is getting rid of that taste.
Curdled milk? That's disgusting.
Get a grip, Dana. Take a deep breath. That's what the salvage team is going to have to do to get that ship up.
We've made our submarine to reach the sunken ship. First, a test run. If we let air out of the balloon, water fills the bottle. It sinks. Blow the balloon up. Up she comes. Now to attempt the daring rescue. Let the air out. Down she goes.
Carefully.
Now up a bit. Missed it. Down again. Got it! Bring her up! We did it! Our salvage sub worked!
Great. Now let's see if we can sink the ship again.
Oh yeah.
My friend Ben has a fixation with wanting to fly. Right now he's superhero crazy. Look at his ridiculous red cape. I bet he wishes he could just take off. At least Superman could fly. That's more than you could say for Ben's kite. Poor Ben. He gets so down in the dumps when his kites don't work. Mustn't laugh. I think it's time to give him a helping hand. Sophie to the rescue.
There are thousands of different types of kites. People began making them in China at least 3,000 years ago. Some designs are really elaborate, but all kites work on the same principle. They are pushed upwards by deflecting the wind downwards. Kites like these are designed for very precise movement. That means they can be used for stunt tricks, like flying in formation. Other kites are designed to catch the wind so well, they can even be launched from the water. Now wouldn't Ben and Sophie be envious of that?
Alex reckons I can't work out the height of this tree. I'm sure I can. He can be so annoying sometimes, but all I've got to work with is him and our yellow stick. Alex reckons we can measure it if we cut it down. Yeah, right. Just between you and me, I think the stick might be more useful. But hang on, I think I just might be onto something. Maybe Alex wasn't so silly after all. Have you worked it out?
Okay, here goes. I know there are lots of creatures out there that I never see. Time to find out what they are. I've got a secret weapon, the perfect way to outsmart those wild beasts. Dig a hole, just deep enough, lined with a smooth, slippery bowl. and bait the traps with a tasty morsel or two. They won't be able to resist. This little roof will keep out the sun and rain. And I'm not stopping at one trap. I'll need a few to catch my quarry. And now I'll make myself scarce. Don't want to get caught in the stampede. Ah, my first catch! The orange has attracted a huge beetle. And I've trapped a gorgeous centipede. And these beasts couldn't resist the banana. Looks like this is the best trapping spot. These are called pit traps. But remember, the animals can't get out on their own, so they'll need some help. I wonder what I could catch with this piece of dried meat. We'll see tomorrow. This should be good. Now what eats meat around here? Ah, scorpion! Too dangerous for me.
As usual, Blake and I both want to eat the biggest apple. But we can't agree on which one it is. They're all about the same size. But I don't want him to have the largest. Blake reckons he can tell. But as usual, what I think doesn't seem to matter. Anyway, in my opinion, that's the biggest. And then this. And that's the smallest. But I'm still not 100% sure. The yellow one is taller, but is it actually bigger overall? We'll settle it once and for all. I'll just see if I can find something to measure the apples with. Oh, what's Blake doing? That gives me an idea. We'll have to improvise. I'll round up a few bits and pieces that'll do the trick. Let the great apple sizing experiment begin.
Curious. I wonder how Ty's going to make that work.
Well, I wonder if Sophie's going to come up with a kite that'll actually stay up in the air.
Poor old Ben's kites don't work very well. I think the idea is to have a shape that catches as much wind as possible. My design's gonna sort that out. It's really easy to make. What we're gonna end up with is a kite that looks like this. Here's how you make it. Lay out a rectangular piece of plastic garbage bag. Stick down 2 pieces of thin wood, about 1/4 of the way in, from each side. Mark a triangle around the outside of the wood and cut the plastic so your kite looks like this. On the tip of the triangle, fix some tape to make it stronger and punch a hole. Thread a piece of string about 1 meter long through the 2 holes. In the middle of that piece of string, attach another 4 meter long length of string. Here's a kite that'll catch a lot of wind. Now watch the expert at work. There's more to kite flying than I thought. I don't think the shape's the problem. I think we have to work out a better way to catch that wind.
You'd be amazed at how much wind well-designed kites can catch. These kites are strong enough to pull sand skiers along a beach, and even strong enough to take sand yachts for a bit of a spin. Some kites catch enough wind power to lift people right off the ground. But what goes up must come down. Alex has challenged me to find out the height of this tree. All I've got to help me is this stick, and him. But I think I can do it. All I need to do is line up the top and bottom of this stick with the top and bottom of the tree. And turn the stick sideways. Now if Alex stands at the same distance as the tree, and he's right at the end... Stop! Don't move! Now all I need to do is measure from where Alex is to the tree. My steps are about 1 meter long. 18, 19,
20. The tree is 20 meters high. Ta-da!
That's much smarter than cutting the tree down, Jason.
It sure is, Dana. And I think Ty has a pretty clever way of measuring those apples. Must be clever. I've got no idea how she'll do it.
Blake doesn't realise it yet, but I'm going to show him a tricky way to find out which is the biggest, roundest apple. I'll fill up this container right to the very top. Put an apple all the way in. Don't stick your fingers in. See? Some of the water spills over the top into the tray. I've got to make sure I catch every drop of water and put it in the glass and mark how much water there is. That's how much water was pushed out by the red apple. Top the container back up and in goes the yellow apple. Quite a bit more. It's the green apple's turn. Make sure it goes all the way in. So there's our answer. Green is the smallest, red is the next biggest, and yellow is the biggest of them all.
Ty's clever idea works because of something called displacement. The amount of water pushed out of the bowl is exactly equal to the volume of each apple. The more water, the larger the apple.
Here's another scientific principle. Survival of the fastest.
Imagine a world with only 3 colours. Well, it's true. There are only 3 simple or primary colours. And I'm going to prove it to you. Look at all these colours. I'll show you how they're made. If I sort the colours out, then pour a tiny amount of water in with them, the dye should start to come off. It takes a while though, so be patient. They're ready! I need some absorbent paper. These bits of coffee filters will do. They'll suck up the dye and separate it into the colours it's made from. You can see that the yellow ones are made only with the yellow dye, and the red is made with only red. They're both primary colours, but the purple dye separates into red and blue, our third primary colour. And the brown is made up of all the 3 primary colours, red, yellow and blue. In fact, with the right amounts of the primary colours, you can make any colour, which is just as well because I like them all.
Well, that's one thing to do with colours. Now let's see if Sophie and Ben can get their kite up and flying.
I can't believe my kite didn't get off the ground. I thought I'd done everything right. We need to figure out which direction the strongest wind gusts are coming from. Looks like Ben's had an idea. We could use his pillow slip as a windsock. Whichever way the pillow slip billows out is the direction the wind's coming from.
Windsocks show wind directions at airports. They also warn parachutists if they're going to be blown off course. Windsocks come in all shapes and sizes, but they all work pretty much in the same way.
And now I know which way to launch my kite. I need to have the kite facing into the wind. That way it catches the full force of the breeze. Yay, it's flying!
If you want to keep your kite up in the air, it's important to keep your flying line tight. If the flying line becomes slack, bring in some line until you feel the tension again. Woohoo! It's flying! Unlike Superman here, kites defy gravity when they stay up in the air.
At least now Superman's getting a bit of flying time, even if his feet are still on the ground.
Just as well it wasn't blowing a gale, or Superman really might have taken off.
Now that would have been a backyard science adventure to remember. See you next time. making tasty ice cream without a freezer.
How bugs like to travel in the air.
And the bouncing ball that always comes back.
Something smells good, but how will Lucas find his lunch?
Are you a super taster? Here's one way to find out.
And John renovates his room. All he has to do is choose a colour.
Welcome to Backyard Science, the show that finds the smart way to do just about anything.
But first, Lucas has a problem, and it all starts with his nose.
Food! I smell food! Oh, it smells good. Someone's cooked up a treat. But where's it coming from? I reckon I could smell food half a mile away. It's still out there, somewhere. Not under here. A hungry boy never gives up. Nothing. It must be over here. There's food somewhere out there. I know it. But I just can't see it. What this starving boy needs is a telescope. These lenses will do the trick. Ah, cardboard. Perfect. And some scissors and tape. Now, where was I? These magnifying glasses should make things look bigger. That's because the glass is thicker in the middle. Whoa, it makes things look upside down. I've got to figure out the best lens to make my telescope. So I need to get the best image from these two lenses. Put one of the lenses close to your eye, and the other one you move away from the eye. Like this. That's it. The perfect distance. Cut the card to that length. Roll it up, stick it together, and then fit in the two lenses. Not bad. A quick and easy homemade telescope. Now I'll be able to spot where that delicious food smell is coming from. It's got to be out there somewhere.
Lucas's telescope is just a small one, but take a look at these. This one's so big, it's got its own door. Big telescopes use huge lenses. They also capture images not just of light, but faint electrical signals from way off in the universe. They're so powerful that they can capture really clear images of what other stars and galaxies look like.
We've got a stack of potatoes to peel. My sister's not too impressed. Maybe juggling will impress her. Maybe not. Hey, the forks! Watch this. If you make a slit in the side of the potato, stick a fork into it. Keep doing this until you get a whole chain of potatoes, all held together by forks. Looks weird, but it gets weirder. Carefully hang the potatoes over the edge of a table. Notice something? They're balancing.
What's going on? What happened to gravity? You'd think the center of gravity, the point on which the potatoes balance, should be there. But it can't be. The center of gravity of our potatoes is there.
So what happens if I add more weight to our balancing potatoes? Look out. I think I just lost the center of gravity.
Margot hates drinking milk, but I'm going to show why Mum nags us to drink it, even if some of us don't like it. Take some leftover pieces of roast chicken, grab some of the bones, and wash them. Then dry them. This is tougher than I thought. Now for the next step. I'm going to tip some vinegar into a jar and pop in some of the bones. When we come back a few days later, look at what's happened to the bones. They're all soft and bendy.
Like our bones, chicken bones have a mineral called calcium in them to make them hard. Vinegar is an acid strong enough to dissolve the calcium in the bone. Without calcium, there's nothing to keep the bone hard.
So my mum is right. You need calcium to keep your bones and teeth strong. And milk is full of calcium, so we better drink up.
Thanks, Sophie. I think I see what you're getting at. Let's see if Lucas is putting his telescope to better use.
It's amazing what 2 magnifying glasses, some sticky tape and a bit of coloured cardboard can end up looking like. This homemade telescope should be the answer to my lack of lunch. With a view like this, surely that smell is no longer safe from my hungry clutches. Aha! Sophie and Margot. But what are they eating? This is driving me mad. I need to get closer. Oh, but I can't see over the fence. But I know something that can look over fences. What I need is a periscope. I'll need a milk carton and a couple of mirrors. I'll cut a hole at the top on one side of the carton. And a small hole to look through on the other side of the bottom. Now, make some slits at the side and slide in the mirrors. Make sure the shiny sides face each other. Now to put it to the test. Light is bounced from the top mirror to the bottom one and into my eyes. It's like being a foot taller. Soon that food will be mine.
Periscopes have been used on submarines for more than 100 years. Today there are even periscopes on remote-controlled spy submarines. With no one on board to look through the periscope, the images are sent to a camera and recorded, or sent back to dry land.
I know we taste food with our taste buds, but what are they? I've promised Ben a reward if he helps me out. A little food colouring on his tongue shows the little bumps where the taste buds live.
We actually have about 10,000 taste buds. Each bud has about 100 taste receptor cells inside.
Now I've heard we taste different things in different parts of our tongue. Now this is salty water. Tell me where you taste it. So he seems to taste salt most strongly here and here, at the front of his tongue. Now what about some lemon juice? Yep, that was a sour one. He tasted that at the sides of his tongue, towards the back. Let's try tonic water. Right at the back for bitter. Now what about sweet? This is sugar and water. He can taste that right on the front tip of his tongue.
The middle of your tongue doesn't have many taste buds at all. But by sensing salt, sweet and sour, and bitter, we can taste thousands of flavours.
Okay, you're done. Here's your payment. Now this is what tongues are for.
Looks like Ben and Angelique have got that one licked, Dana.
Yes, Jason, they seem pretty happy with themselves, but I think John needs a little cheering up.
I'm over my bedroom. I'm sick of plain old green. I need a change, but I don't know which colour to choose. To help me decide, I'm going to make my own colour panel. Now when I overlap these two plastic sheets, I get another colour. With this red sheet, the same thing happens. Now what's amazing is that with just these three colours, red, blue and yellow, I can make just about any colour I like. To make a colour panel, measure some strips on your plastic sheets and cut them up. You'll need blue, yellow and red, which are known as the primary colours. Stick these to a piece of white card, one after the other. When you mix primary colours, you get secondary colours. So if I lay a yellow sheet of plastic over the blue, I'll get green. See? Now as I complete my colour panel, the layers of plastic are producing all sorts of weird and wonderful colours. By adding more layers on top, the number of colours keeps on rising. It's just mind-boggling how many there are. So now I should be able to choose. I can't decide. But maybe I don't have to. Yes, I like it. I'll never get sick of these colours.
Looks like John needs to be a little more decisive to me. But I know someone who knows exactly what he wants. Food.
If this can't help me find my lunch, I'll starve. There they are. Oh, look at that pasta. And there's still some left. Hey girls, let me have some, please. Oh, go on. I'm wasting away over here. I haven't eaten for hours.
What's he doing?
It's a periscope.
I guess he deserves some food for all that effort.
Ah, they can have it. There's nothing more important than food.
I don't know what those girls are laughing about. But I hope they stand there until I finish their ice cream. It tastes delicious. It was so good of them to leave it for me. That was good. Uh-oh, here's trouble. How can I get out of this one? How about I show you how to make your own ice cream? Then you'll never run out.
Wrapping presents again. It's no fun when they're not for me. I need a lift. Whoa, that works. How about the paper? That gives me an idea. I'll need some tissue paper, some scissors, a scarf, and a metal tray. Now if I cut out some little figures from tissue paper, put them on the metal plate, then rub the balloon with the scarf. Watch what happens to my little people. They're dancing!
The balloon becomes electrically charged when it's rubbed with a woolen scarf. It attracts the dancers and also charges them. After a while, they fall down. Then they're attracted all over again.
As long as I keep rubbing, they'll keep dancing. It's cheaper than batteries.
Liam and Di are competing to see who can make the best mummy. Round 1 definitely goes to Liam, but I've got a feeling I'm going to win round 2. I'm going to need a baking tray, a scaled and gutted fish, and lots of Epsom salts. The salt will suck all the moisture out of the fish. I have to make sure it's completely covered. In a couple of weeks, that fish there is going to be as stiff as an old Egyptian pharaoh.
Ancient Egyptians had mummy making down to a fine art. They even made mummies of their pets. Before the bodies were wrapped from top to toe in strips of linen, body parts were packed and covered in salt. The salt kept the body tissues dry and helped preserve the mummies for thousands of years.
Okay, it's been 2 weeks. Let's see how my fish is doing. It's pretty solid. Yep, it's well and truly mummified. The Epsom salts have drawn moisture from the outside and the inside of the fish. And it doesn't even smell. I wonder what that Liam's up to. What's the matter? Afraid of a little mummy, are we?
I'm going to try that at home, Dana. You want to help me?
No thanks, Jason. I think making ice cream's more my style. Let's see how Ben's doing.
Okay, girls. To make ice cream, you'll need cream, milk, drinking chocolate and sugar, a bowl, some spoons, and whatever yummy stuff you want to put into it. Perfect. Now, mix together 2 spoons of drinking chocolate powder, 1 spoon of sugar, 4 spoons of milk, and 2 spoons of cream. And stir. Don't forget to put in all those yummy extra bits. Now, the trick is to turn that goo into ice cream. And we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, before refrigerators were born. We need a bowl of ice and lots of it. And salt.
The salt will help make the ice cream set. Seems odd, but it works. We'll see why later.
Put the ice cream mixture in the bowl, on top of the salted ice cubes. Put a towel over the bowl. Now you need to stir it every few minutes. But mostly, you wait.
These two are feeling really rotten. Joseph was sick first, and then John got sick. It always seems to happen that way. One person gets a bug, then it travels to someone else. How did it get there? Yuck! A rotten apple. Maybe the sick apple could infect another. If I take some of the bugs from here and put them into a healthy apple, we'll see if it gets sick. Give it a few jabs. Let's see what's happened. The sick apple is still sick. And look at the other one. It's starting to go bad too. Right where I gave it the bug injections. The disease has travelled.
It's the same with people. Germs can spread through touching hands or sharing cups with a sick person, but they also spread through the air when a person sneezes.
Yuck! And with all those bugs around here, looks like illness I'm looking after now.
losing again. Sharmony always beats me. It can't be my fault. I blame the ball. The ball never bounces up in the same position. It always spins a little after it's hit the ground. I think it's because the basketball grips the ground when it hits. See, it has a sticky, rubbery surface. Basketball's not really my sort of game. But I'm never going to win at anything unless I can figure out about the bounce of the ball. Let's have a try. I'll use these bricks and some perspex to make a bouncing test tunnel. My first guinea pig, a tennis ball. If I throw the ball through the tunnel, I'll see if it grips and spins. Nope, tennis ball goes through pretty easily. The furry surface of the ball doesn't have much grip. It skids off the perspex rather than spinning. And now for my next test, the bouncing super ball. It's got a surface a bit more like my basketball. Now that's different. It comes back to me. No matter how hard I try, I can't bounce it through the tunnel. It must be because of the surface of the bouncing rubber ball. It looks smooth, but it feels sticky. So when it bounces on the perspex, it grips and spins back. Okay, now I'll be a master of ball control.
Daniela in a ridiculous white coat and big glasses and boring lectures about things that no one's interested in. Each water molecule contains 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen atom, and there's an empty space between each water molecule. For goodness sake, all she means is that water has holes in it. We've got a glass filled with hot water, right to the top. Who thinks it's going to overflow if I tip anything else in? I'll buy an ice cream for everyone if I make a mess. This calls for a steady hand. There, a whole teaspoon of sugar. You'd think the water would overflow, but the sugar has dissolved into the invisible holes in the water, so it takes up less space. My piggy bank is saved! No ice creams! That's it! Back to you, Professor. Let's get out of here while we can.
That's amazing. So when a cup's full, it's not really full, is it?
That's right. But when an ice cream tub's empty, it really is empty. Let's see if Ben can fill it up again.
We have to keep stirring the ice cream every few minutes. That keeps the ice crystal small and makes it creamy. Yum! The girls have been waiting for ages. It's very nearly crunch time. Okay, girls, what have we got? Ice cream!
This is how they used to make ice cream freeze in the good old days. By itself, ice melts at 0 degrees C, but add salt and the temperature goes much lower. That makes the temperature of the cream drop too, so it becomes frozen ice cream. The towel stops warm air from flowing into the chilled bowl. Not bad, huh? Your own freezer.
And one more interesting fact about this ice cream. If you eat it now, you've both been infected with boys' germs. Thanks for the ice cream, lady. Good thing you know how to make your own now.
Ah, Ben, I'm not sure that was such a smart move.
Let's hope he's a fast runner. See you next time on Backyard Science. Coming up on Backyard Science, how to become a radio star by making your voice as smooth as silk.
Give your breakfast cereal real sticking power.
And, oops, Melted that butter? Why not make your own?
Make some chopper blades that'll have your helicopter hovering like a real one.
Heading skywards, the levitating power of little fingers.
And a vision tester that'll show you why you need eyes in the back of your head.
You know, Dana, I've always fancied myself as a rather dashing chopper pilot.
Really? And I thought you just had your head in the clouds.
Oh no, we pilots have our feet firmly on the ground. Until we learn how to take off, that is.
Wilson wants to be a pilot when he grows up. Yeah, right. He can't even fly his model airplane. Ouch. Maybe it's time I showed him a different sort of aircraft. Not a fixed-wing plane like this, but a helicopter. Wilson's about to discover what rotating wings are all about.
Introducing Lefty and Knucklehead. Here's Pinky and Nose Driller. And last but not least, the all-powerful Scratcher. Together they are the mighty gang of 4. And there's no one they can't lift. Lefty and Knucklehead are under the knees. Pinky and Nose Driller under the armpits. Sit up straight and stiff. 1, 2, 3! Yay! Take a bow, gang of 4.
The secret is coordination, with everyone lifting at once. The load is shared equally between the gang, and those fingers can easily do the job.
Let's try it when Priscilla's lying down. 1, 2, 3. Yep. Let's try someone heavier. 1, 2, 3. Yes, levitation works. Hey, you fingers, take a bow. And a round of applause for the gang of 4.
Have you ever noticed how hard it is to see out of the corner of your eye? Especially when I'm trying to spot the others before they sneak up and pinch the cookies. I can see something moving, but I can't tell if it's Lucas in his black sweater or Ben in blue. There's Lucas! Oh, it's a broom! That's it! I'm going to find out once and for all why it's so hard to recognize things out of the corner of my eye. There's nothing a girl likes more than a good long soak in the tub.
Daniela, you've been in there for ages.
Now for the beauty treatment. Ew! My fingers look like prunes. That's odd. For some reason, when I spend a long time in the water, my hands go all wrinkly. Back of my hands, no. Arms, no. Legs, no. Tops of my feet, no. It's only my fingers. Curious. I'm gonna find out why.
You go, girl. No one wants to end up with wrinkles in their fingers.
True enough, but nobody wants to end up with a helicopter design that's got wrinkles in it either.
Our budding helicopter pilot is about to get his first lesson in rotating wings. First, I'll poke the pen in the apple. Popstick blades are next. I'll just space them around the apple core. The pen is what you turn to make it spin, just like a helicopter does. There it is. Spins around like a helicopter. Okay, that's just the idea. But this one's too heavy to fly. We need a helicopter that's light enough for the blades to lift it. Stay there, and I'll show you how to make a helicopter that really flies.
I want to play soccer with Sophie, but she won't get her head out of that book. She just ignores me. How about a bit of fence thumping? No, there must be some way I can get her attention. Oi, Sophie! Sophie! I know. Ice cream. Chocolate ice cream. Wouldn't you like some, Sophie? I know a way to get her attention.
The knee jerk is called a reflex and happens when you gently tap someone's knee below the kneecap. The tap causes the thigh muscle to stretch and a message is sent to the spinal cord. The spinal cord then sends a message back to the knee telling it to jerk.
That got her attention. Oh, she's got the ice cream. Now who can I play with? Genevieve. Yes, at last, a reaction.
Sometimes your doctor tests knee-jerk reflexes using a small rubber hammer, but the knee's not the only place where the doctor taps. There might be a tap near the arms, on the fingers, even the ankle. That's because nerves in our arms and legs are joined to different parts of our spinal cord. By tapping in different places, the doctor finds out which parts of the spinal cord might be damaged.
So we're going to find out why it's so hard to see things out of the corner of our eyes. We'll need to cut some cardboard into half a circle. Something to hold it with. And a pin to mark the center point. It's going to perch under our noses like this. We're going to draw some shapes, some of them coloured. We're going to use the cards, see how close they have to be before we can recognise them. Our vision tester should work a treat. I'm going to find out why my fingers get all pruny and wrinkled. Maybe it has something to do with the amount of oil on the skin. Cut up a bathroom sponge. Spread some waterproof petroleum jelly over it. Pop on a few drops of water. Aha! Interesting. The water's not soaking in. I'll just try some on the normal bit of sponge. Yes, I thought so. The water goes straight in.
Most of the skin on our body has a generous coating of oil, like the sponge with petroleum jelly on it. But skin on our fingers is like the sponge without the oily coating. Our finger skin is thicker and isn't protected by a layer of oil. So it absorbs water and gets wrinkly when it stays in the bath too long.
Well, now that I've solved that problem, it's back to the beauty treatment.
Wrinkly fingers are beautiful. Oh, well, I suppose beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
Yep, the eyes have it. So maybe Priscilla's vision tester could come in handy in more ways than one.
Okay, Lucas, look straight ahead at the pin without moving your eyes. Now I'll start to move the card around the outside edge of the base. Let me know when you can recognize what's on the card.
Now.
Okay, I'll note down the angle where you first recognize the red circle. Okay. Wow, it's amazing how far around the card goes before we can see what it has on it.
We see things sharply only when they're near the centre of our eyes. We also detect colours better when they're right in front of us too. That's because there are more light detecting cells in the middle of our eyes than at the edges.
So that's why I can't recognize the boys very well out of the corner of my eye. Hey! I think I need eyes in the back of my head.
Wedge-tailed eagles can see twice as well as humans can. That's because there are more than 10 times as many light-detecting cells in their eyes than ours. Good eyesight helps these birds swoop down and pounce on their prey with pinpoint accuracy. Just think what food I could lay my eyes on if I could see like a bird.
Sorry, Dana, I can't think about food now. I'm dying to find out how that homemade helicopter is going to fly.
I'm going to show Mr. Pilot here how to make helicopters. All we'll need is paper, scissors, and a few bits and pieces. A simple model first. Rule 2 straight lines this wide. Rule more lines crosswise about here. 3 more lines down here. Now this middle bit I'm shading, we're gonna keep. You cut either side of the middle bit up to here. Then cut down this line like so. They're gonna become our blades. Then I'll get rid of the side bits. I'll fold and add a paper clip for weight. And there it is, just like a helicopter. Those spinning blades provide just enough lift for a smooth descent.
A helicopter stays in the air because of its spinning blades. Each blade in the rotor is actually a wing. The wing shape creates lift as it slices through the air. The blades create just enough upward lift to balance the helicopter's downward weight.
Okay, now we're going to make some blades that spin around a shaft like a real helicopter. Draw a square, lines joining the diagonals, and cut halfway down each diagonal. Then all you do is fold the corners in. Pin them down. Snip off a bit of a drinking straw, it'll be a spacer. On goes the cork for weight. And test flight time. Hey, the wing blades give enough lift to give it a soft landing. It's a pinwheel helicopter. Go, pilot!
I sure look the part. Roxy Socks Off from 8FM, radio that rocks your world. For my first interview, I'm going out on the street to get the word straight from the kids. And who knows how tough it is out on the street? More than skaters. How's it going, guys? So tell me what it's like being outcast in your own suburbs. And what about not having anywhere decent to skate? Isn't that right? Fascinating. Well, guys, it's been real. Thanks for your time, dudes. Good luck and rock on. Awesome! My first interview. Skater boys didn't say much, but at least I can check out my questions. How's it going, guys? So tell me what it's like being outcast in your own suburb. What is that? My voice sounds nothing like I hear it in my head. And there's so much other noise. Well, guys, it's been real. How am I ever going to get a gig on radio? I'll have to find out what I'm doing wrong. I'm going to try something.
Ah, the perfect camper's breakfast. Puffed rice. Just give the spoon a clean up. Now. Eh? That's odd. They're sticking. I wonder why. Now they're not. But when I rub the plastic spoon with my woolen jumper, they just can't get enough of it.
When Blake rubs the spoon on his jumper, he generates what's called static electricity. Blake's spoon is now negatively charged. Opposite charges attract. So any grains of puffed rice in the bowl that have a large enough positive electric charge are attracted to the spoon.
Once they're on the spoon, something weird happens. It's as if they change their minds.
As soon as the rice reaches the spoon, the difference in electric charge between the spoon and the rice begins to get weaker. When that attraction weakens, the rice falls down.
I'll give it another rub. And off they go. I don't know, you'd think they'd make up their minds.
going to make Mr. Balloon Man. And this is going to be his cap. But the cap's too small. Oh, it's my last one. And I can't get it undone. This calls for a cool head. Hang on, that gives me an idea. See you in the morning. Wow, it's worked. Let's see if the cap fits. Yay!
The balloon is full of air. When the air's warm, the molecules have more energy. They bounce around like crazy inside the balloon, making it bigger. But as it cools down, the air molecules lose their energy, and the balloon should shrink.
He's not such a big head after all.
I like doing the shopping for my grandma, but boy, it gets heavy. Home at last. I'll just put all this away before Gran wakes up from her nap. Fruit. Oh no, the butter melted. It's spoiled. What'll I do? Maybe I can use Gran's cream to make some butter. I've heard butter is churned up cream. I wonder if... I'll get shaking and see what happens. Man, this takes a lot of shaking.
Keep at it, Sophie. You never know, that mixture might turn out to be butter one day.
Yeah, and hopefully Roxy's sock sauce voice will sound as smooth as silk, if she can work out what the problem is.
My voice sounds deeper and nicer in my head. From 8FM. Roxy Socks Off from 8FM. But on tape it sounds tinny and awful. I think it's because when I talk, I hear myself from inside my head. From the tape, I hear through the air. Now this will help me hear what difference that makes. When I drop the fork and listen to it normally, the sound goes through the air and makes a clear ringing sound. But if I do it with my fingers to my ears, the sound isn't quite as jangly. I don't hear the high sounds. I guess that's because the sound has to travel through my fingers to get to my ears.
Sound travels differently through air than it does through more solid body tissue. That's why Roxy's voice sounds different when it travels from her voice box through her head and into her ears than when it comes from a tape through the air and into her ears.
Right, now I know why I sound different on tape. Oh well, it's how everybody else hears me anyway. Now to get rid of all that horrible noise my microphone picked up.
Margot's going to be my touch test dummy. We want to find out if some parts of Margot's body are more sensitive to touch than others. First, a feather. Looks like Margot's sensitive to a feather everywhere. Now, eyes. Fingertip test. Neck and shoulders. Arm. All the same. But what about something a bit smaller? The point of a felt-tip pen on Margot's shoulder. 1. Good. Now 2. Huh? She thinks it's still only 1. 3 pens. What? Wrong again. I'm going to investigate this some more.
I'm getting something to display my model cars. It's got to be level. Let's try. No, way off. Let's adjust it. Better, but still not level. I've got an idea how to work out whether or not it's level. Half fill a glass with water. Now if I put it on a surface I know is flat and stick tape exactly along the water line. If the surface isn't flat, the water won't line up with the tape.
What builders use is a spirit level. A spirit level is a tool that tells you when a surface is horizontal. If the bubble is centered, the surface is level.
Now for my card display. This end needs to be higher. That's it, perfect! Check it with the car. My car's not going anywhere. Good. Line them up.
I've got to get this butter made before Gran wakes up from a nap. That's about 10 minutes. Let's see what's happening to my butter. Hey, it's starting to work.
That's because cream contains fat and protein. As Sophie shakes the jar, the fat and protein are forced together. The leftover liquid is called buttermilk. It's actually just water that's been shaken out of the fat.
Just a bit longer.
Hang in there, Sophie. You'll get a warm, fuzzy feeling if you manage to make that butter.
Well, Sophie's the lucky one because Margot's about to get a sharp, pointy feeling.
My felt pen touch test on Margot's shoulder was interesting. 3 pens, but she only felt 1. I'm going to try it on her hand. 3. Yes, she's right this time.
We feel touch through nerves called sensory receptors. The more we have, the more we feel. There are lots on our fingertips because we need to feel what we're holding. But other places don't need to be so sensitive. The receptors are further apart, so 2 or 3 pens can feel like 1.
Now for my next touch test. You stay there, Margot. All I think she's feeling now is a touch lonely.
Shake that butter. Shake that butter. I think it's done. Yep, it's buttery alright. Into a butter container. Now all I need to do is put it in the fridge to hide it. When Gran gets up, she'll have all the butter she needs. As for this, well, in the bin for you.
Phew, another successful Sophie to the rescue on Backyard Science.
Yep, and I think Roxy's socks off is hot to trot in the voice box department too.
When I hear my voice through my head, I don't hear the high sounds because they travel through body tissue. Maybe I can cut them out on the tape by making my voice go through a different sort of material on the microphone. First up, see how the radio sounds with a microphone wrapped in a towel.
The one and only Club B, proudly brought to you.
That's cutting out too much sound. I can hardly hear it. Let's try the newspaper.
You're listening to Club PFM and you're listening to Club...
That's not doing it for me. There's hardly any softening of the sound. Let me see if the foam is any better.
Brought to you by Arden's Precision Springs and Grass Flakes. Only Club B, proudly brought to you by Arden.
Hey, not bad. Still clear, and it's not so noisy.
Materials with lots of small spaces like foam absorb sound and help keep unwanted noise to a minimum. That's why many microphones have a foam sleeve over them.
You know, I think I'm back in business. Look out, listeners. Roxy Socks Off is back and coming at you loud and live.
Stay tuned and you might be lucky enough to catch Roxy on your radio dial.
But for us, it's time to tune out because we've come to the end of another Backyard Science.
See you next time. Hard Science. How to raise your own frogs in a homemade pond.
The secrets to lying on a bed of nails revealed.
And Drops Under Pressure. Which one will win the great running water race? Hey, don't just recycle. We're going to show you how to turn old newspapers into a brand new clubhouse.
Richard straps on the goggles and becomes a test pilot for a very weird aeroplane.
And how the little guy can beat the muscle man.
Could be useful for a guy like you, Jason.
Hey, brains always beat brawn, Dana. But first, a clubhouse that'll be the envy of the neighbourhood.
Just round up some spare newspapers and a bunch of friends with some time on their hands.
What a sad and sorry lot. I reckon I can think of something to get them going. What these guys need is a clubhouse. Nothing ordinary though. I'm thinking of a clubhouse big enough for the whole gang and made from newspaper. Do you get the idea they're not taking me very seriously? Hey guys, I've got a plan to make a newspaper structure that'll stay standing up. Trust me, by the time we're done, we'll have a clubhouse that's strong and will never blow away. The trick is to make the newspaper sturdy enough. Now, lie a few sheets of paper on top of each other, put a toothpick on the corner, and start rolling. Keep it as tight as you can. When you're finished, tape it up. Don't stop now. We're going to need a whole lot of these to make the ultimate clubhouse.
Everybody knows how to make a marshmallow smaller, right? You can squash them. You can slam them. Best of all, you can munch them. But do you know how to make them bigger? Here's a better way. Put the marshmallow in a small jar. Put a straw through a hole in the lid and seal around it. Then suck.
It works because marshmallows are mainly air. There's gazillions of tiny bubbles inside. When you suck the air out of the jar, it reduces the pressure, so the air inside the marshmallow expands.
I just wish it would stay that way when you let the air back in.
Stand by for an aviation spectacular. Have you ever seen a glider like this? Who thinks it will fly like a bird? And who thinks it will crash and burn? Let's see. 1, 2... Hold on. Before we do, why don't I show you how to make one? Want to see it again? All you need is 2 strips of paper. One about 25 centimeters long, the other about half that length, plus a drinking straw. Make the 2 strips into loops by sticking the ends together and tape them to each end of a straw. Easy! It doesn't really look like a plane, does it? Now for the real test. 1, 2, 3! Not bad, huh?
The circular shape of the wings gives the plane its lift. In theory, as long as you keep the proportions the same, any size plane should also be able to fly.
Not bad, Dana. Richard's plane might look unusual, but I've never seen a better glider.
Speaking of unusual, I wonder how that clubhouse is coming along. I'm not convinced old papers will be strong enough.
These are the building blocks for our brilliant newspaper clubhouse. Talk about strength in numbers. 63, 64, 65. That's it. Stop, everybody. Okay, now the fun starts. Cut a tube to exactly 65 centimeters. We need 35 tubes of that length. We also need 30 tubes that are about 5 finger widths shorter than the long ones. You guys do those, and you guys can stick with the long ones. And just so we don't get confused, we'll paint the long ones blue, short ones red. They'll be our club colours. Now, let the construction begin. The trick is to make our building materials stronger by joining them in a clever way. First off, the base. We need 10 longs. Make them into a circle and join them up with some sticky tape. That's our base. Now for the clever part. We combine the long and the short tubes. Okay, red team, put a short tube at each joint in the base. Blue team, put a long tube beside each short one. Back to the drawing board. We need to create a V shape with our red and blue tubes. Tape them together at the base. Fantastic! Now it's these triangular shapes that will give our clubhouse its strength. Red team, join the tips of the short tubes. Blue team, do the long ones. Believe it or not, our clubhouse is beginning to take shape. Great work, teams. This is going to be the best clubhouse ever. All my friends are bigger and stronger than I am. I'm sick of being the smallest. And I'm always the weak link when it comes to muscle power. See what I mean? I'd love to have a way at beating them at their own game. I know! The broomstick challenge! Here's how it works. I give 2 of my friends a broomstick to hold. The other one has to pull the broomsticks together, while the other 2 try to hold them apart. My friend in the middle hasn't got a hope, but I know I can do it without even touching the broomstick. Pathetic, aren't they?
I bet mine bounced higher than yours. You're on.
Ready, go.
Okay, my turn.
Rats, her ball bounces higher.
Ah, I can do better than that. Watch this.
Whoa, let me try that.
Whenever a ball is bounced, it has momentum and energy. When 2 balls are bouncing together, the energy from the first gets transferred to the second ball. And that makes the second ball fly off with even more energy.
Alright, let's try something that doesn't normally bounce. Fantastic! That works too!
Wow, look at that beautiful insect. I'd love to get a closer look, but how can I catch it? I think I know the answer. Suction. Okay, got my box of tricks. He's going to end up in this jar, and he'll get in through this hole I'm making. I just need to persuade him a little. These will be my suction tubes. Don't want to swallow the little fella, so I'll cover my end with gauze. It needs to be airtight, so put the lid on firmly, carefully seal up the holes, and it's ready. Now suck. A safe bug catcher for me and the bugs. There you go, a nice soft landing.
I may be smaller than this lot, but what they don't know is that I'm about to outdo them in the strongman stakes. This time, I'll tie one end of a piece of rope to one of the broomsticks. Then I'll weave the rope in and out of the 2 sticks. My job is to hang on to the other end of the rope. Now guys, use as much muscle as you can to pull the two broomsticks apart. Just as I thought. Even with all their muscles, they can't budge the broomsticks an inch. And I'm hardly pulling at all. Now I'll show them just how weak they are. I'll pull on the rope and that will drag them even closer together. Even the little guys can be the winner at this game.
For each time the rope is wrapped around the broomsticks, John's pulling power approximately doubles. That's because when he pulls on the rope, John exerts a small force, but over a long distance. That force ends up being greater than the force two toughies can manage over the shorter distance.
For once, my friends end up looking like the weaklings, and I look like the strong man.
See, Dana? I told you that brains can beat brawn.
Okay, Jason, but let's hope there's no weak links at our backyard construction site.
Okay, here's the grand floor plan. But we've got to get this job moving. No slacking off. We've reached the really interesting part. We're starting to build our clubhouse upwards. See how many triangles there are. We're going to use that shape to build our entire clubhouse. Triangles are the strongest shape there is. Don't forget to join all those points together tightly. Don't want it falling down. Let's move up to the last level. I think it's going to work. Yep. Oh, steady! At last! All our triangles come together at the top. Yay! Our dome clubhouse is finished.
This is known as a geodesic dome. In fact, the same design is used for the famous Epcot Center in Florida. The buildings stay up because the weight is shared by all the triangles.
No need to thank me, team. It was all in a day's work. Start with the circle and just build up those triangles. And hey, a clubhouse. Right, team? What do you mean I'll wreck it if I try to get in? Oh man, now I've got to design a door.
Oh, who's there? Look what I'm doing. I'm going to make my own tadpole farm at home. I'm getting all the stuff I need from here. Look, it's a bit dirty, but I'll bet there's frog's eggs in there. That's where tadpoles come from. Wouldn't it be great if we could get our tadpoles to grow? All it needs is water from a pond and an old wash tub. Now add some weeds from the pond, because they put oxygen back into the water. Okay, now pour the water in. We'll make sure it's got some sunlight, because the pond needs sun if it's going to have things growing in it. But too much would cook them. Yep, it's just a matter of time before our little pond is home to a bunch of swimming tadpoles.
Margot and I are trying to get fit. We go running every morning. Sure gets our heart pumping. The fitter we get, the slower our pulse rate. This is one way to check your pulse. But I know a way that'll actually let us see our pulses. It'll work for sure. All you need is a drinking straw and a bit of plasticine on your wrist. Now if I take Margot's wrist, I guarantee you'll be able to see her pulse.
Each time your heart beats, it sends a wave of pressure through your blood. This is called a pulse. You can feel it when you place your fingertips on top of your wrist, where there's an artery.
That's weird. Looks like she's got no pulse. I'm starting to think Margot's an alien. Let me try. Ah, yes. It needs to go right on top of the artery. Now we can see how many times the straw moves in 1 minute. That'll give us our heart rate in beats per minute.
Well, my ticker seems to be in good shape, but I still think Margot might be an alien.
The bigger an animal, the slower its heartbeat. Elephants' hearts pump at about 25 beats a minute. But tiny mice have a pulse rate of 500 beats per minute. Here's another interesting thing about hearts. A slower heartbeat usually means a longer life. Mice live for 1 or 2 years, while elephants' hearts keep pumping for about 60 years.
Roll up to the greatest balancing act on earth. Oh, I'll never be able to run away from home and join a circus. Why is Lucas so good and I'm so hopeless? I think he needs a handicap. Okay, Lucas, if you can stand for half an hour on 1 foot, I will give you this whole cake. Ready, set, go! He's too good. Let's make things a bit trickier. See how good you are at doing it with your eyes shut. If you have a blindfold on, your balance isn't as good. Okay, Lucas, you're doing pretty well. I think you've earned your cake now. Go for it.
Staying balanced requires your eyes and ears to work together. Canals in your ears use fluid to help you balance. And your eyes keep checking on whether you're upright or not. When you're blindfolded, you've only got half your balancing mechanism working, and you might be headed for a fall.
I think you'll have to be the circus clown after that balancing act.
Oh, he's lying on a bed of nails. Ouch! That looks painful. I wonder how he did it. I'll make my own bed of nails. Some wood, a hammer and nails, and a stunt balloon to the rescue. I won't be putting a hole in my backside to do it. First, the bed of nails. Okay, nail into the wood. Yep, that's a sharp point. Right, let's see if this can take the balloon without bursting it. Maybe I need more nails. Nope. So how did that guy survive all those sharp points? I remember he had lots and lots of nails. I know. This has to work. Lots of sharp points. Yes! I did it! The balloon didn't break!
The more points there are, the more the weight of an object is shared around. So, if there are enough sharp points, the pressure is actually very small.
Mind you, I don't think I'd like to sleep on that.
Ouch! A bed of nails? No, thanks. I'd never get a good night's sleep.
Well, just thank your lucky stars you don't have to spend your life in a murky old pond like Sophie and Ben's tadpoles do.
I'll scoop some water out. Oh look! We've got tiny tadpoles in our pond. 1, 2, 3, 4. They look like they're doing really well.
Tadpoles hatch from eggs. Then they slowly grow tails so they can swim about. That can take about 6 weeks, but the change can take longer if the weather is cold.
I think it's feeding time for the little guys, Ben. Yummy. Boiled lettuce.
Tadpoles in the wild normally eat algae, but might not get enough of that in a homemade pond. Boiled spinach or lettuce will do the job. A spoonful or so each day. If they're not eating it all, you're probably giving them too much.
That should make them grow.
amazing computer, but it's pretty easily confused too. Watch this. First, I write down numbers. Easy. But if I trace a small square with my other finger, suddenly it's though I've forgotten how to write. Pretty curious, isn't it? And it doesn't even have to be your hand. Try making a circle with your foot while you're writing. Get ready and write. Ah! It's impossible! What's happening? I can't do it!
The human brain can do many things at once, but when it has two complicated sets of instructions, like writing and moving your other hand or foot in a certain way, sometimes things just get a little confused.
So maybe my brain isn't quite as smart as it thinks it is.
How to make water droplets race each other. I'm gonna need a cookie tray, some toothpicks, an eyedropper, and a cup of water. First, soak a toothpick in water. With an eyedropper, put a drop of water onto the tray. Okay, the water has to stick to the wet toothpick. Yes! Hang on tightly! Just a bit longer! Yes! The power of surface tension! I'll just get another racing droplet ready. Ladies and gentlemen, the race is about to start. May the best droplet win. On your mark, get set, go!
Surface tension happens partly because water molecules have a positive electric charge on one end and a negative charge on the other. Opposite charges attract, so the droplet and the water on the toothpick stick together.
We have a winner. Yes!
I think one of those droplets was a clear winner.
Oh, I get it. Clear water. Very funny, Dana. Not too funny for Sophie and Ben's tadpoles, though. They've spent their entire lives in a pond full of dirty water.
Let's see how they're going. Wow, they're much bigger. These guys are going to turn into frogs soon. We need to give them something so they can climb out of the water when they want to.
As tadpoles become frogs, they lose their gills. Frogs breathe air like us. That's why they need to be able to stick their heads above water in the pond.
That should do the trick. Wow, frogs! They're huge! Hey, it's a beauty, isn't it, Ben? I can't believe you're a little tadpole one. I'll get another one. We'll have to let them go. It's not fair to keep them cooped up for too long. Okay, off to freedom, little froggies. We'll release them back to the pond where we found them. This looks like a good spot. Come on, little frogs. It's time for you to explore your new home. So long, Hopalong.
I don't think we'll be seeing those frogs again, Dana.
Nope, and it's time for us to go too, because we've reached the end of another Backyard Science.
See you next time.